The Heidelbergs are genuine all-purpose presses, printing anything that can be locked in their chases, from a business card to the maximum sheet, from airmail, onion skin, to heavy cardboard, from a simple one-colour job to the most difficult four-colour process work. They provide the means of processing countless orders by jobbing printers, stationery firms, and folding box and envelope manufacturers.
It's a Heidelberg crown platen, crown being 10 by 15 inches in size. And it was manufactured shortly after the Second World War. It would have been about 1948-49, that era that it came into being. And it is an automatic feeder and delivery. Previous platens from Heidelberg were hand-fed, as is the Peerless here behind me. And it's on top of that, it is a much faster machine. This one will run in the region of 2,500 to 3,000 an hour, which is a very, very big improvement on the older ones, which were even the Thompson platen would have done about 1,200 an hour. So it's a very, very big improvement on the old machines. It doesn't have sucker delivery, it has a gripper delivery, it has a sucker feeder. Suckers pick the sheet up and feed it down. It's grasped by the gripper bar delivery and held there while it goes on impression, and then carried out and released and dropped into the delivery box. The feed table being here, the sheet is fed down into the lays, held by the gripper bar and pulled across and dropped into the delivery over that side. Used basically for small jobbing work, letter heads, embossing as well as or normally printing, or it could also be used for thermographic printing, a thermographic machine beside them. Labels, handbills. Most of the handbills, when this came around, would have been in the 10 by 15 size. So they were printed on a 10 by 15 machine. Or if they were, there were 7.5 by 5 handouts, and print them two up on this. And it said running at the speed, it was a very economical machine to run. Could you, automatic, you're ducted back here, you can put your ink in, and your duct roller feeding onto the main cylinder, which in turn feeds onto the inking rollers who travel up and down over the form. The form goes in here, fits down behind the rollers when they're in that position. At the bottom there are two toggles, and the form has cutaways on it that fit into those toggles. And you press that bar back, and there's a cutout on the top of the chase that fits in there, and you drop that down, and it holds the chase and the form in position. The ink is into the ducts back here. The ducts to turn by hand over there, or automatically when you set it, you can set the amount you want to run out by this lever here. You can have a half an inch, you can have an inch, you can have 2 inches of a duct stroke. The duct roller is not in the machine at the moment. It's a rubber roller, exactly the same as this, that fits into the side here and goes down in contact with the duct itself. The duct feeds the ink onto the duct roller. The duct roller then feeds out onto distribution rollers, which put it on the main drum here. And the main drum carries the ink around for the form rollers, which travel up and down over the form. They come up here, pick up the ink, bring it back down, and ink the form up. The operator can set the duct by the keys that are underneath here, control the amount of ink that comes out. If he wants a big solid, he can let a lot of ink out. If he wants it very light, he can tighten the duct. A sprung steel blade under here, and as you turn the key underneath, the spring steel blade activates, goes up or down to control the amount of ink that you want to let out. And when the machine is running, just cover it over so that there's no dust or anything gets into the ink that gets contaminated on the run. Operator takes probably 15-20 minutes to do a make ready on a machine like this. It's very good. You can increase the impression from around the back end of it here by turning the handle down here. You can open the toggle there and tighten the bottom one, and that moves the platen forward. So instead of having to put extra packing on the machine, you can actually move the metal plate itself towards the form to increase the pressure on it. And if you want to back it off, you want to do something very fine, you can back off the pressure without taking sheets in or out. It superseded the Thompson, which was a suction-fed machine, but was very slow because it fed in from the front and delivered from the back. So it picked the sheet up, put it down there, and then when it was taking it out, it picked it up from the back and dropped it at the back end, so you're feeding one over the other. and the suction never seemed to work properly on them. Good machines, but the suckers would get slightly worn, a bit of dust get under them, a bit of ink get under them and break the suction on one sucker, and the sheet would fall out. And invariably they would fall out when the bloody rollers were down there, and it would go into the rollers, and you have to take it out, pull it out, wash the rollers up and start all over again. But these were very, very safe machines, very consistent machines. I don't ever remember having a problem running one of these with sheets falling into the rollers or getting caught up. They were very constant, very well manufactured, as I think all things that came out of Germany after the war were very well done. And they're still running. This one, I'd say, is probably circa 1949-50, and it's now, 60 years later, and it's still a fine machine. Albeit it gets a squeak now and again. That's because it wasn't oiled. But when they're oiled, they run like a charm. Rolls-Royce of the printing industry, without a doubt, for a small printing industry. Best machine that there was.